So how did I go from making $10 a day to now regularly clearing $100,000 in one day? Mistakes, I've made a few. Well, thousands actually, but this video here is only gonna talk about two. Specifically, the two reasons why in the first 8 months of entrepreneurship, I only made $3,000. For my math fans out there, that means that I was making about $10 a day. Talk about big pimpin'. So how did I go from making $10 a day to now regularly clearing $100,000 in one day? Let's rewind to the year 2018. I was working at an Italian restaurant making about $2,000 a month after I've decided not to go to law school. Now, dinner service started at 5 o'clock, but most people didn't come in the doors till about 6:30. And in that interim period, most of my coworkers were on their phones scrolling at Instagram or Facebook. I actually spent most of my time on my computer on YouTube watching videos like these, trying to figure out how to make money online. Of course, there were dozens of options out there. I had e-commerce, I had fulfillment by Amazon, there was real estate, but there was one that really stuck out to me. A lead generation agency. Even back then, to me, it made the most sense. I figured that as long as I was making my clients money, they'd be willing to pay me money. So after cobbling together hundreds of YouTube videos, I finally put together what was gonna be my first lead generation company, and that's where I made my first mistake. You see, I didn't want anyone to know that I was starting this online business for fear of them seeing me fail. In my young and naive eyes, I thought that I would just go out and build this massively profitable company and then one day just show up in my hometown driving a brand new Ferrari and everybody would be like, wow, he's so successful. I mean, for the past 15 years, I had told everybody that I was gonna be a lawyer. So my biggest fear was that if I came out and told people I was starting a business, they'd go, hey, aren't you supposed to be a lawyer? Now you're starting a business, you can't do something like that. And because of that fear, I decided to never tell anybody about this new venture I was starting. So my first mistake in business was trying to convince total strangers to do business with me instead of leveraging people that already trusted me. You see, when somebody buys something from you, they're essentially trusting two things. The first thing is that they're trusting you as a person. They're assuming that you're not gonna run away with their money and leave them high and dry. And number two, they're trusting that your product or service is actually gonna deliver whatever you promise them. When you're first starting out and you don't have any previous clients, social proof, or case studies, sometimes even you don't know if your product or service is actually gonna deliver what you said it was gonna do, which is why it's much easier to sell to friends and family or your personal network, where at least they already trust you, so you don't have to go over that hurdle in trying to convince them to do business with you. This is actually the exact reason why multi-level marketing companies tell their brand new partners to first call up their friends and family to sell them this new product. They honestly know that their product is shit, but like I said earlier, they're leveraging that trust between two people, and although they might not wholly trust that product or service, they know that they're at least gonna trust the person that they've known their whole lives. So here I am sending thousands of cold emails and cold messages every single week with no response. I couldn't even get somebody to give me a free trial, all because they didn't know who I was, they didn't know what I was offering, and I was too afraid to go after somebody that might know me for fear of them making fun of me. It wasn't until I had maxed out my personal credit card that I pretty much decided, you know what, this is it. I'm gonna post on my Facebook page that I do lead generation, and if anybody needs any help, just to message me. The craziest part was within an hour of posting it, I had 30 messages in my inbox of people looking to do business with me, and within 24 hours, I closed my first client for $1,500. Now, my clients at Scaling with Systems learn from my mistakes, and they actually use our scripts to leverage their network to sell their product or service before they even really know what they're doing. Now, the second mistake that I made was a little bit more subtle, but it was 10 times more dangerous. Even some of my friends and family around me were making fun of the things that I was doing or telling me I should consider going back to law school. I don't think anyone meant any real serious harm, but the truth is, when you start changing yourself, it starts becoming noticeable to the people around you, and which in turn, consciously or subconsciously, causes them to want to bring you back down to their level. I had nobody to talk to about this. Nobody to share my wins with, nobody to experience my lows with. I was kind of all alone. It was honestly ironic. Here I was living most people's dream, making thousands of dollars a month from my laptop, yet I felt totally isolated. I had nobody to look up to or nobody to talk to about what I was going through. So the second mistake that I made that I want you to learn from was not changing my environment soon enough. Hey, wait 1 second. If you're getting any value out of this video whatsoever, please be sure to smash the like button and also hit subscribe. It means a whole lot to me and it helps the YouTube gods know that I'm putting out at least half decent content. A lot of people talk about this, but you won't ever actually understand it until you feel like a stranger in your own house or your own community. It actually causes you to start to think that you're doing something wrong, that maybe you should go back doing what everybody else is doing and simply fall in line. Now, it was around this time that I was fortunate enough to get introduced to my first online mastermind. I paid $3,000 to somebody that I met online and I got instant access to all of their knowledge and everybody else that was going through the same program. All of a sudden, my world totally changed. Every single day, I was getting on calls with people that are making $30,000 a month or more, and they were walking me through how they did it. I started to realize what was actually possible, not simply what people around me told me was possible, but I actually found people that I could look up to and strive towards to see what my future could be like if I didn't limit myself. Now, the big turning point for me here was when I drove up to Atlanta a few months later to be in my first in-person mastermind. I spent 72 hours just totally soaking it all in. And the craziest part is, all of the people that I met at that original mastermind almost 3 years ago are still some of my closest friends today, business partners, and even roommates. So don't ever underestimate how influential your environment is to your success or your failure. If at all possible, which in reality it is in today's world, get around people that are at the very bare minimum on the same level as you looking to grow, but at the best 5, 10, 15 steps ahead of you. Instead of having to shrink so that those around you don't feel uncomfortable, you'll actually be forced to grow so that you can be comfortable in your new surroundings. Now, if you want to learn from some more mistakes that I've made in the past few years growing my company from $0 to $5 million, you can click the link in the description down below and get access to a totally free course with over 4.5 hours of content on the exact steps that I took to go from $0 to $5 million in about 24 months. If you got value out of the video, please be sure to like and subscribe so that you can get notified when I put out videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video. Echo, turn office lights on.
Let's make some money.
We should cut that.